The reason your brain feels cluttered and overwhelmed isn't that you have too much work. It's that you're using your mind as a storage device. We'll show you the simple 3-step system that offloads 80% of your mental load and instantly organizes your entire life. You know, this single sentence, it just perfectly diagnoses a problem that so many of us face. We treat our minds like these messy junk drawers, right? We just stuff them full of reminders, to-do lists, and all these vague anxieties. But here's the thing. Your brain isn't a hard drive. It's a super high-performance processor, and it's designed for creating, for connecting ideas, and for solving really complex problems. And when we use it for simple storage, we're crippling its true potential. So we're going to show you exactly how to reboot your entire mental operating system. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack the overwhelmed brain paradox. Then, we'll get into the science of mental drag, lay out the 3-phase GTD framework, and explain why it's so powerful. After that, we'll walk you through your 30-minute life reset, and we'll wrap it all up with the ultimate lesson: focus. So, let's dive right into this central paradox. You see, true mental freedom, it doesn't come from trying to remember more or working harder. No, it actually comes from the exact opposite. From ruthlessly outsourcing your memory to a system you can trust. You've got to let go to gain control. Think of it like this. Your mind is a brilliant CEO, but it's a terrible administrative assistant. Okay, so here's the real issue. The problem isn't your workload, it's how you're misusing your best tools. Think of your working memory kind of like the RAM in your computer. It's that active space you need for thinking right now. But what happens when it's jam-packed with dozens of reminders? Email Sarah, pick up the dry cleaning, prep for that big meeting. There's just no space left for the real work. No room for creativity or strategy or any deep thinking. Most people never get control because they're trying to upgrade their processor while their RAM is totally, completely maxed out.
All right, now let's get a little scientific and diagnose this condition. We're gonna put a name to that invisible wall that's been blocking your focus. You know that constant, low-level hum of anxiety that kind of follows you around all day? It's time to identify the real source of your cognitive chaos. The culprits? They're called open loops. Now, an open loop is simply any commitment, big or small, that your brain is trying to keep track of because 1, it's not finished, and 2, it's not written down somewhere you trust. Call the doctor, finish that report, plan the vacation. Each one of these is like a tiny little program running in the background of your mind, just eating up your mental resources 24/7. And all of these unresolved open loops, well, they create a phenomenon known as mental drag. And look, this isn't just a vague feeling. It's a well-documented psychological principle called the Zeigarnik Effect. Our brains are literally hardwired to obsess over unfinished business. Each open loop is like a browser tab you just can't close. It's constantly pulling at your attention, draining your mental energy. It's like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake just slightly on. You're always fighting against this invisible resistance. And this is the real cost of that mental drag. This constant chaos directly restricts the power of your prefrontal cortex. That's the most evolved part of your brain, your inner CEO. It's responsible for all the high-level stuff, decision-making, strategic planning, creative problem-solving. But when it's constantly being pinged by dozens of little open loops, it can't do the deep work. Your most valuable cognitive real estate is being swamped by low-value tasks, and it just cripples your ability to think at your best. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. Your mind's a terrible office, it's clogged with open loops, and it's creating mental drag. So now for the cure. We're moving from diagnosis to prescription. This is the Getting Things Done, or GTD framework. This is the external architecture for a clear mind. The whole system is built on 3 simple but absolutely non-negotiable phases. First up, capture. You have to get every single thing that has your attention out of your head and into a trusted container, what we call an in-basket. And this isn't just for tasks, it's for ideas, worries, everything. Second, clarify. You go through everything you captured and you make a rapid-fire decision about what it actually is. And third, organize. You sort all the actionable stuff into a system you can trust, so you only see what you need to see when you need to see it. Now, during that second phase, clarify, you've got this secret weapon, the 2-minute rule. It's so simple. As you're processing your in-basket, if you come across something that'll take less than 2 minutes to finish, you just do it, right then and there. You don't schedule it, you don't put it off, you just execute, replying to that email, making that quick call. This is how you build incredible momentum and just obliterate a huge chunk of mental clutter before it even has a chance to form.
Okay, but what about the stuff that takes longer than 2 minutes? Simple. You run it through this powerful little decision tree. First question, can you delete it? Is this task or idea even irrelevant anymore? Be ruthless here. If not, get rid of it. Second, can you delegate it? Are you really the best person for this job? If not, pass it on. And finally, if you have to do it but not right now, you defer it. That means putting it on your calendar or on a specific project list. This whole process just forces you to be decisive with every single thing vying for your attention.
So that's the what. Capture, clarify, organize. Now let's get into the why. Why does this simple framework work so incredibly well? Well, this isn't just some productivity hack. It's a system that's designed to work with the fundamental wiring of your brain to unlock peak performance. I mean, just look at this contrast. It says it all. On the left, that's the default state for most of us, using our brain for storage. It overloads our working memory, creates anxiety, and leads to something called ego depletion. Think of your willpower like a battery that gets drained by every little reminder. And the result? Decision paralysis. But on the right, that's the GTD state. The external system frees up your memory, it neutralizes anxiety, it saves your willpower battery for what really matters, and it builds momentum. It is a fundamental shift in your entire cognitive operating model. So let's really nail down these psychological wins. First, it frees up a massive amount of working memory. Second, it prevents that ego depletion, which saves your best energy for your most important deep work. It neutralizes the anxiety of the Zeigarnik Effect by finally closing all those open loops. It even creates a nice dopamine hit from all these small wins you get with the 2-minute rule. And maybe most importantly, it forces you to turn a vague anxiety like deal with finances into a concrete, actionable step like call accountant to schedule Q3 review.
All right, enough theory, enough science. Let's get down to brass tacks. This is how you actually implement this system and achieve a complete life reset in the next 30 minutes. This is your non-negotiable protocol for instant clarity.
Okay, here is your 3-step launch protocol. Do this exactly as I say. Step 1, the mandatory 30-minute capture. Set a timer for 30 minutes. You write down every single thing that has your attention. Every task, idea, project, worry. Don't filter, don't judge. Just get it all out of your head. Step 2, the clarify and filter drill. Go through that list item by item, and this is key, touch each one only once. Apply the 2-minute rule. For everything else, you decide, delete, delegate, or defer. And finally, step 3, contextual organization. For every single item you deferred, define the very next physical action you need to take, not plan party, but draft guest list. Then you assign that action to a context list, like at computer, at calls, or at errands. All right, let's bring it all home. We've built the system, we understand the science behind it. Now it's time to distill all of this down to the single most important lesson. This is the core principle that allows you to achieve what practitioners call a mind like water. That state where you can respond to anything appropriately because your mind is completely clear and present.
And here it is. It all boils down to this one single idea. Your mind is for having ideas, not for holding them. Your intelligence, your creativity, your strategic insight, these are your greatest assets. So stop wasting them on low-level memory maintenance. Your brain should be an idea factory, not some cluttered warehouse. When you build a trusted external system, you liberate your mind to do what it actually does best, create. So after everything we've covered, it really just comes down to one question, doesn't it? Are you ready to stop managing your memory and start directing your focus? Because that 30-minute protocol we just walked through, that isn't just a suggestion. It is the clear, immediate next step to make this a reality.
So let's bring this home. The Getting Things Done system is the solution to cognitive overload and the mental drag that comes with it. And why this matters so much is that it gives you a systematic way to outsource your memory and free up a huge 80% of your mental load that you were just spending trying to remember stuff. That framework of capture, clarify, and organize is the engine that makes it all work. The capture phase gets everything out of your head, which immediately saves your executive function for what matters. Then, the clarify and organize phases, they neutralize the anxiety of all those unfinished tasks, that Zeigarnik Effect, because your brain finally learns to trust that every single commitment is safe in a system that will not let you down. So commit to that 30-minute mind dump today. Because productivity isn't about doing more, it's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.